I'm Fred Rowell. I am the senior instructor at Aikido of Diablo Valley, and I've been in this art for 43 years. And I got into it purely by accident. I had moved up from Miami to New York. I lived in a brownstone on West 19th Street. It was the only brownstone on the block. And these people came down from Columbia University and opened up the original New York Aikikai in 1962. This is probably important only in the terms that why did I stay with Aikido? And for that, I'd like to share one experience I had. A little bit of background is my youth and background was not one of great peace. I lived overseas as the only American in a district, so I was definitely a minority and a target. I had 1962 and 1960, I separated from the Army for the first time. I'd been a Ranger. I had a significant amount of, if you will, physical conflict in my life. And my principal reaction when confronted was to strike out. And it was a pure survival level, and it was going to be me or the other person. Obviously, as far as I was concerned, it was me. When I lived in New York, I was working with an import-export firm, and we dealt in the diamond business. And sometimes I would carry a significant amount of very negotiable goods on me. And in walking across 45th Street, just off of 5th Avenue, one afternoon, my left arm was grabbed from behind. And Aikido is designed for multi-man, not just one person. And so I thought, my goodness, this has got to be a hit. And there's got to be more than one person, at least two there. And so as I was looking around for the other person, I got the person who had grabbed hold of my arm in a sankyo, which is basically put him up in the air with his hand in this position. And then, of course, I turned and looked at who it was. Now, I could not tell you between the grab and the in what happened. But my vision of Aikido, this is true. You never know what's in between, only the beginning and the end. But the big thing was I turned around, it was another diamond broker who had heard I was doing a martial art and playing games. Now, I'd been 3 months in the art, and my whole thought, and I presented to him, is you have no idea how lucky you are. Had you done this 3 months earlier, my whole reaction would have been to seriously hurt you. And of course, I said this in a very stern voice, but inside my little heart was going, I'm not going to jail, I'm not going to jail. An art that could change this attitude and response in me within 3 months. I didn't get it out of judo. I didn't get it out with the limited experience in karate I had. I never got it out of boxing and wrestling or any other conflict. If this is what this art can do for me, then this is the art I need to follow. And it's not the martial attribute of the art that impressed me. It was the psychological state, the emotional state, the openness, and a misquote of Sensei, the love that's involved in it. And when we speak of that capacity, we're not speaking self-defense and my fear of what you can do to me. It's my fear of what I do to myself. And the art has, in 40 years, taught me invariable skills and techniques for doing simply that, closing off the openings that I create in me, so I don't become so vulnerable to an attack, that I have the time, the posture, and the attitude with which I can deal with conflict, either physical or emotional, in a reconciliating manner, as opposed to saying, no, you're not hearing my point of view. It's, what are you saying? And turning in that direction of that opinion, try to work with it and try to come together with you so it is not just your problem, it is our problem. And the resolution is our resolution, not mine, not yours. So this is the biggest thing in and of itself that attracted me to this art. There are only so many ways you can move the body, and every martial art utilizes their methodologies of how the body works, how a joint bends or doesn't bend, how do you imbalance a body. They even address, as in Aikido, the psychological techniques by which you can distract a person or redirect them or bring their attention to a given point so that you can take advantage of it. Biggest difference in my mind between the traditional art, if you will, and Aikido is simply that. If I redirect your mind off the traditional thing, imbalance you off the traditional, it is to do you harm. The traditional arts are self-survival oriented, purely. And that's kind of selfish, isn't it? My survival above everything else because I'm right and you're wrong. And the thing that struck me again with Aikido is the idea is we're all here together. That doesn't mean, you have to love everybody, but don't mistake loving for liking or necessarily agreeing with. Loving has encapsulated compassion, acceptance, belief, if you will, in yourself and the other person, that these are the directions that everybody really wants to go to. And that is probably one of the greatest reasons why you do Aikido and practice Aikido. And in the history of our school here at ADV, we have tremendous stories, students coming back and telling us of how they've been able to apply these principles into their everyday life, into business. And this takes some pretty high-powered people who have been able to encapsulate that and incorporate it. Is it wrong to make a profit in a business? Of course not. Is it wrong to be a usurer and destroy people? I would think so. Make a profit for you, make a profit for your clientele or the consumer, if you're selling retail or whatever it is. How about a profit in just your management techniques? An idea, management techniques or styles that kind of incorporates traditional, perhaps, and a view of Aikido as a management technique. A traditional style of management is fear. I've seen this in sales. I've seen this particularly in the sales of used cars, these kinds of things. You have to produce a quota, period. You don't care how, you've got to do it. When you begin to do that, your customer no longer is important to you. It's your survival that's going on. Managers who attain their authority through this fear may look very strong on the outside and very powerful. But that tends to be just an outer shell. And when that shell cracks, they tend not to have the inner resources. And you'll see this in the manager when something goes wrong, that their first thing is, whose fault was it? It was his fault. They're to blame. Whereas a manager who is softening it and accepting, he says what's the first thing he says? We've got a problem. First, we have to resolve the problem. Having resolved the problem, then let's see how we got there. And then let's see how we don't get there again through this same method. That means you're going to have to deal with your people. Good leadership, then, is not being hard, but it's actually being soft on the outside. You can be steel on the inside, soft on the outside, and what happens is the people want to follow you.
Repeat that. You just touched your mic and I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good leadership.
Good leadership is where you are, in a sense, soft on the outside, receiving on the outside, seeing, working with. Doesn't mean you don't have steel on the inside, and I mean steel to make a decision, if you have to make the decision. Because not all decisions are the ones we would like to make. But it's soft. What happens with that? The person you're working with says, wow, this person cares. This person not only wants to develop themselves in the business, they want to develop me. This is somebody I can follow. A person who follows you voluntarily is much more stronger in your support and production than the person who follows you out of fear. And in a sense, this is what we're learning on the mat. We use the physical techniques of self-defense to begin to learn all these principles of interpersonal, intrapersonal relationships. Familia, societal, all of it. Nice. Hey. Offer it, huh? Offer it. Don't stand and wait for it. Got it? Dozo. Just stay where you're at. I'm coming in. He's coming here. I'm not doing it out here. And this is, I see a lot, you're doing it. This is almost defensive again. What I'm saying is, he's there. I am really moving in, almost to this position. I'm really moving in on him. He is grabbing what? To keep from being hit? Whatever, responding to the tree limb. And then I just simply say, it's in front of me, isn't it? It's in front of me. It's in front of me. Boom. It's in front of me, dropping down. Yep. This is being proactive now. The art is a proactive art. It's not standing around. It's not defensive. And the reason I say it's not defensive because it's normal defense, the way you think about it, is reactive. And a lot of what we were doing earlier was more on the reactive side. Now we're trying to be proactive. And this concept of coming in, taking that center, moving, and being proactive is critical to doing randori. You cannot be defensive. You cannot be reactive in randori. Okay? And you always have to be what? Moving in front of you. Forward in front of you, not backing up. Okay? So everything, as much as you can, you work in front of you. If I'm reactive and working out here, oh, it's beautiful. Right? Oh, yeah. Oh. Can work. Right? Boom. There it is. Yeah. Oh. This is coming in, isn't it? Boom. Down. Non-stop. Boom. Turning. Where's the next person? What's going on? Hi? Thank you. You can walk right through that. Now, I need to be careful here, or I'll break the grip, huh? But I have my body around. That's okay. I'm in there. I'm in there. That's holding you up, isn't it? Yeah. And particularly this gentleman here, let him down easy so he can practice his forward roll. Don't just, oh, and then you practice your forward roll. Hi. And at that level, you can lower yourself. You can control it. Hi. Of when your energy comes in, it's yeah. So this has got to be, mind is through him. Everything is through him. That's what collapses the center. If the energy is here, oh, huh? I can come in. Oh, can you see how it's empty in here? Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Boom. Come on. Oh, yeah. Boom. Ah, down. Getting into it. Getting in and boom, down. Okay. Oh, God. Why do I teach it? It is absolutely rewarding to see the growth of somebody else come out of the same discipline that you have. and not possessed by the discipline. That's verboten, but possessed by the fundamentals of it that say have compassion, harmony into it, instead of destructive. Self-defense. Self-defense is not defending yourself against someone else. It's defending you against yourself. Those things that create the openings for conflict. And most of the time, these things, anger is just another part of fear. And when you learn how to relax and flow and to work with and not be afraid, it's amazing just how much you can do with people, how you can resolve issue. And that's been pretty much my experience with Aikido. As a matter of fact, I think a great example of that sits between myself and my partner, Shari. And we both are capable of having our buttons pushed. And what we learned in the practice of Aikido was when that occurred was to say, at this time and this place, I cannot deal, if you will, rationally, unemotionally. And the other one says, fine. And nobody's feelings hurt, and you turn, you walk away. And we found that within 2 or 3 days, we could come back and we would have resolutions to any problems we faced. That's Aikido also. So what we do on the mat is nothing but learning the principles and the ideals. We apply them in the most austere concept of conflict, which is physical, dark side, harmful conflict. And how do we break this out? How do we bring it together so it resolves issues for all of us, not just one of us? And that's why I love Aikido.